Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. Sorry about the lighting for this intro. Stepped out to the garage. Lighting's not best, but I figure I could talk a little bit louder so you could hear me without waking my wife up. So if you've not seen it yet, I suggest you go back and check for part 1 of my Wildcat adventure. This will be part 2 where we do Trail 5, which is named Rebel Way on the map. And the previous one we actually went out and ran what's called Sasquatch Trail. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in and enjoy the ride along. Okay folks, so it took a 3-point turn to get situated to head down this way, but we have found it. Trail number 5, Rebel Way. And you can see why it took a 3-point turn. It's coming off the hill on Trail 1, and then this cuts back the same direction we just came from. Well, you can't see for the A-pillar. So I reckon we'll hop out right quick, turn on the Vivitar, and we'll give Trail 5 Rebel Way a go. Well, folks, hope you enjoyed the ride along. That was trail number 5 called Rebel Way here at Wildcat. I really enjoyed that. I mean, generally it's not a bad trail. It's not really difficult, but there were a couple of really challenging sections. Probably ain't going to pick it up on the footage from the GoPro, but I actually stalled it out in 4-low first gear on that one hill climb where it had the rock step almost at the top. Now, to give you an idea, flip my screen back around. You remember the hill? Well, we've basically just made one great big loop. We went up, hit Sasquatch, and then hit Trail 5 Rebel Way. And we have literally looped back around to the bottom of the hill that we shot up and made a left. Now, I do want to come over here and show this, because this is kind of neat. It's a pretty good sized rock face. I say it's probably 50 feet, 50 maybe 60 feet high. And this is a lot of the trails around here. A lot of them just take and hug right along these rock faces like a Sasquatch. Basically, it dipped down and you just hugged along the rock face. I don't know how well the footage on that shows, but now a lot of Kentucky is sandstone and limestone rocks. So you can see in the rock formation all these little pockets and cavities. And that's all just water over time. Takes and just wears the rocks away. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what water can do. And of course, graffiti all over the place. A little bit of a pet peeve. It's hard to, you just about can't enjoy nature anymore for trash and graffiti. But absolutely neat. And if I'm quiet for a minute, you might be able to hear it on the audio. Where the groundwater comes down and it hits this rock face, it just trips and trickles. Yeah, I bet I said that backwards. Drips and trickles off these rock faces, and it's usually fairly moist. The ground is at the base of these, and sometimes you can find little pools of water. But I think we're going to exit stage right and start making our way back towards the main part of the park. We'll see what our time looks like, because I would like to do a video going up to the dome, because that's one of the better known places here at Wildcat. I do have a few videos on my or not videos, but a few pictures on my phone. And from that, I went up there the first time I came out here. I went up there. Just kind of a trip report. We've managed to keep it fairly clean with everything. I mean, I've definitely had the Jeep a lot dirtier. Now, one thing I will note is body armor and protection. Always a good thing. I have used the skid plates today over some of the bigger obstacles. Every once in a while you'll hit through, there's one section of the trail where it's pretty narrow and it crosses where they had put cupboards in, And if you was on a side-by-side or four-wheeler, you kind of pick a better line, but it's literally about the width of a Jeep, so you kind of have to point and shoot. And I know I touched bottom a couple times coming through them ruts, but it will absolutely surprise you what these things will do. And as you can see right there, it's a Sport, so that means it is the absolute base package. And literally, it is a base model Jeep with a winch for recovery and a little bit of armor. So we're going to hop back in the Jeep. We're starting to lose sunlight. It's starting to cool off a little bit. It's gotten to where it's been cold. It actually got down cold enough to freeze last night, and I reckon it's supposed to get down freezing again tonight. So, but that was trail number 5, which I have to say, as far as like signage, it could be better. Of course, you know, you could always improve. You know, that's one thing about life, is that you can always improve. But as far as like the trails being marked, it's actually fairly good. Sometimes you just gotta stop and look for the signs, but they've done a pretty decent job of signing their trails. The map, it gives you a vague idea. I mean, it's not a, you know, I'll be honest with you, I'd say it was probably drawn up by the park owners. You know, it does a decent job of giving you all the major trails and loops and connections. Now, I have noticed that they have put in new trails that are not on the map. So it may need a bit of an update, but there's probably not enough new trails that warrant the cost of reprinting. So right here, try not to blind you with the glare from the sun. So trail 1 to the left and office to the right. So we'll head back out of here. Well, I think we finally found the limit of road tires, trash control, and low range. I've got it in gear with the parking brake engaged. I was coming on my way back to leave, and I was coming around this little track, and you can see right here is a pretty significant washout. I can't back up to take another hit at it because trying to ease through here, I couldn't get enough momentum, and I'm literally stuck on a little stump. So between the mud and all that, try to get over here and show. The problem is that my driver friend is having to come up at the same time I'm trying to come up this stick or small tree that's laid across, and I've just slid. The backs came sideways out of shape, so we are going to effect a self-recovery. So we have our tow rope for a tree saver. We are going to pull some winch line, and we're going to put the winch to its first use. So I'm going to go get this set up, and we'll get ourselves out of this situation. Okay, so we have our recovery set up. I've got the cable ran out. I've got it hooked down low on this tree here. I've got my lunch box with some waters in it as a flying blanket. As you can see, we don't need a whole lot, maybe 1 car length. So we'll get our remote, get the Jeep fired up, and put this winch to some good use. Okay folks, as you can see, that wasn't a whole lot that needed. Maybe about, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet. Just enough to get me up off of this slick log that I was held up on and get the front end up here where it's a little bit drier. So we've already put the winch back. Sorry about the camera work trying to, and you can see right here where my problem was is my front tire was coming up out of this hole as my back tire was trying to come up over that little log, and it just hung me up. So we should be able to get back in. I'm thinking 4 low second, give it a little revs, and she should come right up out of here. Okay, so we are back where we started at. This is the main building, or the office. What you hear in the background is my little air compressor. We are airing back up to highway speed, or highway pressures. I've got a little Hyper Tough unit you can buy at Walmart. I think they're like $20 a piece. I would recommend getting 2, because 2 tires and it's fairly hot, and it's best. I'm walking around to this side to try to keep some of that noise down, but 2 tires and it's pretty much hot, and it's a good idea to let it sit for a while. If you had 2, you could air 2 at the same time up, do them past your, front and rear at the same time, cut your air up time in half. I say it probably takes me a good 30-40 minutes with that thing, but it's cheap and it works. Eventually on down the road we will upgrade. So all of the time, effort, and money spent for the winch bumper and the winch finally paid for itself. This is our 3rd time here at Wildcat, and the first time that I've ever actually gotten this little thing stuck. It usually walks up just about anything I want to take it through, but there just wasn't no traction at all, and it was a real technical section that you couldn't get any momentum build up hardly. So you had to creep in first gear 4 low, and then once you got clear of the washout you had to punch it, but just wasn't enough run up. Kind of give you a shot of that. So this is where you've been riding shotgun for all the trail footage. Just a handlebar mount. I see. Hopefully that worked out good and the footage turned out good. Let me go to the driver's side. Now, my wife had surprised me with a set of these WeatherTech floor mats for my birthday, and as you can see, they pretty much cover the whole footwell. So, yeah, I'm extremely happy with that. Maybe a little vacuuming, wipe down the plastic on the sides, but I can just take those out, spray them off with the hose, and I'm good to go. So I want to say thank you for watching. Thanks for riding along with me, and hopefully we'll see everybody later.